Welcome to Living Well. We're so happy that you joined us for another segment of how to live well. We know there's a lot of pollutants and things in our environment that contribute sometimes to diseases, but today we want to share with you about chromotherapy, how it can help with your health and your healing. Today, our presenter is Elder Jeffery Thomas. He's actually the first elder at Calvary Seventh-day Adventist Church in Norfolk, Newport News, Virginia. Sorry, Jeffrey. So anyway, Jeffrey's been on,
You're
Elder
close.
Thomas, and he has been on before and shared some wonderful information with us. So we're excited about what he's going to share with us today. I believe you're going to hear something that maybe you have not heard in a while, or maybe never have heard before. So you may want to grab a piece of paper and a pencil, because we are talking about chromotherapy. And I don't know if you've heard about that, but you may want to take some notes. I do want to give you a disclaimer. This is for educational purposes only. Emlyn and myself, we are promoters of health and wellness, but we do not assess, diagnose, or treat any medical conditions. If you have something very specific that you want to ask your doctor, we ask that you do that. But we do want to tell you at the end that Elder Thomas will take questions. So if there's a question that you have, you can't hold it, type it in the chat. We promise, before we get off the platform, that it will be answered. So Elder Thomas, I want to say welcome. Thank you for consenting to come on today's program. We're very excited that you're here. We can't wait to hear how God is going to speak through you to tell us about chromotherapy. Again, welcome.
Oh, thank you. It is a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me back. You're right. It has been a while since I've been on, but a couple of times I was able to participate. It was a blessing to me as well. I'm just happy to be here. It's been a wonderful Sabbath day. God is blessed. I'm starting to realize that the older I get, it's hard to preach on Sabbath and then do other things too. So, but He has given me the energy and the strength, and He's given me the right kind of attitude. So I'm here, and I'm glad to talk about chromotherapy, and hopefully that when we're done today, that you have another tool to put in your toolkit that can help promote health and wellness, mental, physical, and spiritual. I will go ahead and see if I can share my screen, and then we can get started. All right. So I will ask that question. How many of you have heard of chromotherapy? Has anyone ever heard of chromotherapy? Have you heard of color therapy? This is new, all right? And we can be interactive. I know it's, you're muted right now, but, as we move through, if you have, when I ask these questions, it'll be nice to get some, get a little feedback, all right? So we're talking about chromotherapy for health and healing, and it is also known as color therapy. Now, maybe you've heard of color therapy, and maybe not chromotherapy. But chromotherapy, known as color therapy, is a type of holistic healing that uses the visible spectrum of light and color to affect a person's mood, physical, and mental health. And some people often wonder, well, because we are surrounded by colors all the time, but we don't tend to really think of it as being healing. But I want you to begin to think about some past experiences you've had where you've been in a room, maybe the wall, everything was blue. You went in a little bit hyped up and a little nervous about something, but then after a few minutes, you seem to calm down, right? That's your body now reacting to the surroundings, the colors. And so we're going to actually talk a little bit about the physiological aspect of this, what happens in the body. And then we're going to talk about the actual impact of colors on our bodies, on our minds. And so we'll go through this process here. Now, I was reading this book. I actually did a course on holistic health a couple of years ago, and the book one of the books we used was a book called The Divine Prescription by Dr. Gunther Palian, PhD. And this is my first introduction to color therapy. And as I was going through it, I read this, and he says that each color stimulates an aspect of the hypothalamus, which in turn stimulates the thyroid gland. All right, so you know let me ask this question. Anyone knows the function of the hypothalamus? If I can say it.
Well, the hypothalamus is where all the different hormones, or not really hormones, but the signaling for these different hormones originates. And then it travels down to the pituitary gland and then distribute to the adrenal and all the different areas. So that's
All
like the
right.
mother, the mother of all.
Amen. God just made this body. It does things that blows the mind when you actually get into the study of it. But you're absolutely right. You know, the hypothalamus, it's a small little structure deep in the brain. And it is the body's smart control center. Everything that happens in that body, in our bodies, is being controlled from this center. And the main function of it is to keep the body balanced and stable, right? Get us into that state of a homeostasis. That's where we want to be. When we are there, we're healthy. If we stay there, I should say, to get to that point and to stay there, that means everything in the body is working the way it's supposed to work, as God intended it, and then we are typically very healthy. So that's how this is where it starts, right there. All right, and then my sister mentioned the thyroid gland, which produces the hormones that regulate the body's metabolic rate, growth and development. It plays a role as far as controlling the heart, muscle, digestive function, brain development, and bone maintenance there. So now you get a little bit, you can see, okay, so if colors really impact my brain or the hypothalamus, all right, which then is sending signals to the thyroid, pituitary gland, and other parts of the body, right? Because when these things are working well, the whole body eventually is going to be functioning well. So there are two main techniques for benefiting from chromotherapy or color therapy. Now, one of them is just through the sight. You look at a color, right? And then based on the wavelength of that color, it has an impact on the brain, the hypothalamus in particular. All right. The other way is actually light color or light therapy using color reflected directly on the skin, absorbed that way. Some of you may be familiar with infrared therapy for treating joint pains and arthritis. I use it myself. And so it's a red light that's being used there. That promotes healing. And it works a little bit differently because you have heat with it as well, right? But it's a very, very, I think it's pretty much well known. But people don't tend to think of it as being, color therapy. But it does impact the body. And everybody's body, of course, is different. We're all different. So everyone may get some different results. But I think this is something, again, as I said earlier, is there something we can include in our health toolkit and be able to try some of these techniques with some of the other things that we're doing as we move forward. Now, color therapists believe that color can enter our bodies either through the eyes, we talked about that, or each color that we can see has its own wavelength and unique frequency, and each unique frequency has a different effect on people and is used for different purposes. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as we go through our presentation. these colors, which are, and Dr. Palian believes that these colors are connected to areas of the body, and then, of course, will affect people differently, emotionally, physically, and mentally. Now, there's a reason I think why some of your more up-to-date mental health hospitals are starting to use different colors in some of the rooms where the patients are hanging out. And they're noticing that their people are a bit more calm when they go into these rooms with the various colors. So I think everybody's kind of catching on. You'll also notice that marketing is huge on colors because there's certain colors that affect us and make us do things that we're not even aware of. There's a reasons why McDonald's uses that yellow and that was it and red colors. Did you know those are the colors that make us want to eat a lot of food? Did you know that? All right. Pay attention to restaurants and their marketing schemes as far as their colors are concerned. My pastor recently, because our church logo has that red and yellow, and he's pushing to change the colors to something else because he says that's why people get so hungry in church. They're looking at the logo on the screen and they can't wait to go home to eat because they're seeing this yellow and this red. It's funny. All right, so let's talk about some of these colors here because we're looking at blue. Now, when you look at a picture like this, what does it do to you? What does it do to you physically, mentally, emotionally? Anybody?
I think of relaxation. Looking at this, I just see myself in a relaxed state of mind. The white sand beaches, the blue ocean, it just feels very relaxing to me.
Yeah. And that's what blue, it brings that calmness. Hospitals, mental health hospitals, some of the schools are now using more blues throughout their building to bring that peace, settle the mind down, right? If blue is also a color that should be used in the bedroom, right? Because it promotes better sleep. Now, let me tell you something because I've never been a blue person in my bedroom as far as colors and so forth. I normally, my bed colors were, I had these manly colors. I had the bold brown. I had the white and the blacks and all of that. But about a year ago, I don't know, something moved me to buy this blue blanket set for my bed. And I have to tell you, uh, it works. Okay. I sleep better. Uh, I should probably put some paint on the walls, maybe do accent wall and paint it blue. But there's something about this. It does promote better sleep. So this is something you may want to try because you don't have to spend a lot of money to do this. All right. So that's your blue. Green. Green, which stimulates the pituitary gland and helps in healing. And I'm just learning this, actually helps to break up congestion. The color green. So whether you're indoors, whether you're outdoors, just sitting in the park with the green grass, the trees, it is beneficial, right? So think about the blue, promotes sleep, green, which has that impact on the pituitary gland, and also helps the body with healing and congestion. There's a yellow. Now, yellow stimulates the nervous system and the intellect. You see, Dr. Jennifer has on yellow today. Did y'all notice that? Well, we never have to question her intellect. She's always been a very intellectual, very smart person. But these things have an impact on us, and sometimes we're not even aware of it. I had a friend of mine who had a rough life, and without even knowing it, one day she said all of the colors she had in her closet were blues, dark grays, and black. And she was always sort of down. One day she was reading something about colors, and she went and she bought a whole new wardrobe with all of these bright colors, the yellows and the oranges and the reds. And almost overnight, she was a different person as far as her outlook on life, the level of energy and everything, her excitement about life, and all of that we think was attributed to the change of scenery, the colors that bring life. They're vibrant. God gave us all of these beautiful colors for a reason. I think of, even when I think of the rainbow, because all of these colors we find in the rainbow. And God gave us the rainbow. And with that, when he set it in the sky, was a covenant that he would never destroy the earth again by a flood. But I think there's something deeper there on those particular colors, because as those colors also promote healing and well-being. And this is something we can get, like I said, and we don't have to spend a whole lot of money to benefit from it. So that yellow purifies the blood, promotes action. We move into action, self-confidence, stimulating energy. So the next time you start to feel like you're dragging around, get find something yellow and just look at it for a little bit, and let's see what it does for you. You think of the red, stimulates the nervous system, stimulating the circulatory system. And so those of us who have the problem with circulation, if your feet are cold a lot, especially at night, think about your circulatory system. Of course, this thing we can eat also that can help that. But just the color red can help boost, improve your circulation, and also stimulate your nervous system.
So you think it would help? You think red socks or red socks at night then?
I was say again.
You think red socks on my feet at night to help me?
Look at them first though, so it can register. Don't put them on at night when it's dark where you can't see them. Right? Turn the light on. Look at those red. Meditate on those red socks. Put them on your feet, and let's see if it'll help. Let's move here. Orange acts on your thyroid. This is powerful for liver health. Yes. Also helps to release tension, and it also will strengthen the heartbeat. And in some, it has actually reduced or lowered the need for insulin for diabetics. Powerful. And it's all around us. And most of these colors are free. You, like I said, your blankets in your home, on your bed, you can put pictures up with the various colors. You know, you can step outside, the blue sky is there. If you live near the water, you got that beautiful ocean or a lake where it's being reflected. So there are things that we can do to settle ourselves down in a certain area and then let nature through colors begin to heal and strengthen our bodies. And then we look at the purple. And purple is good for meditation. It too helps to calm us down. It slows the heartbeat. And it also helps to produce sleep. I mean, because it's closely related to the blue. Color therapy has been known to stimulate the immune system. Right? Wish we had known this during COVID, right? We could have just gotten out there, look more and more and more of this color in us. So to really boost the immune system, it's been found to be helpful in treating certain psychological disorders such as depression. This is why a lot of the mental health hospitals now are beginning to use those colors. And I think they're even more effective on the children's wards. I know I used to work in one of these mental health hospitals. And when at first all the walls were the same color, like some kind of off-white, but now they're actually bringing color into those rooms. They're bringing those blues in. They're using some of the purples. They're using some of the yellows in. So not only with depression, but bipolar disorder, PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome as well. And color therapy can also be used to help people manage chronic pain, balance hormones in order to improve overall health and well-being. So there's so much information out there on the internet. I mean, you can go and actually do your own research, read up on some of the studies that have actually been done, so that you can kind of make your own decision. But I also want to say that it is important. I mean, color therapy, I think, can really be helpful to us. But there's the color, it can really help us in more than one ways, because we can look at the colors, we can have it reflect off of our skin. And my favorite thing, though, is eating those colors. Because you're familiar with eating the rainbow. I'm sure you've heard of that. You know, most of the time you hear that is directed toward children. There's a lot of little cartoons out there, animated little programs out there for children. But we as adults can benefit from eating these colors, right? So let's look at red. What is red good for? All right, part of my screen is, let me move this out the way. Yeah, so stronger heart, less joint pains, better memory. Eat those red colored foods, your apples, those strawberries, raspberries, that watermelon, red colors. They're good for your heart, it's good for your joints, and for your memory. Then you have your oranges. I was at church today, and we got out of church. Sometimes our community service, when they have food left over from the food distribution, they give it away. So this guy brought me this big old bag of these beautiful oranges. I can't wait to sink my teeth into those. Anyway, so oranges, that's also good for supporting heart health, for vision, and to boost your immune system. I'm sure you've already heard that, because most of these orange fruits and vegetables are very high in vitamin C, which we know is they do promote or contribute to a stronger immune system. Then you have the yellow. You want really nice skin, again, art, the eyes, the vision, digestion, immune system. Eat those colors. It's good to sit in a room where you have those yellows and the oranges and the reds. You get a double whammy, a double portion when you can visualize them, see them, but also partake of them. And then you have your green. Want strong bones? Boost your immune system. You want stronger teeth. You want good vision. Eat your greens. Eat your bell peppers and your broccoli and your all those greens, and your kiwi. Kiwi has about 3 or 4 times more vitamin C than an orange has, right? Then you have your blues to help with absorbing the minerals that you eat. It helps with memory as well as your brain function. Purple, again, memory and digestion. And then the white for immunity and for your circulatory system. So you're looking at your mushrooms and your potatoes and your onions and those types of things. So I just want to encourage you to begin to think about, okay, some of the things you can do. If you're a little stressed out, look at some of these colors, experiment with some of these things, and see what kind of results you get. And then, of course, begin looking at your diet, foods that you're eating, make sure that you are getting a good variety of foods. When I was at the wellness center, didn't go last year, but I went 2 years before. But I would like to just go and just to learn new things, or just for a reboot. But they were talking about these just a regular salad. And what they had us doing at this wellness center, it says when you fix your salad, you need a minimum of 7 different ingredients, right? Different colors. You need those bell peppers. You need the green ones. You need the red ones. You need the carrots. You need your different types of greens, the spinach, and you can have the kale and or some chard. But anyway, 7 different that's variety, and that's what we want to try to focus on, right? So, and so that kind of does it. I think this is about when I'm supposed to stop and see if there's any questions that we can try to answer. And so I will stop sharing now, unless there's another screen someone wants to see. Nope. All right. We'll stop sharing, and we can entertain questions or any comments that you have.
I'd like to say thank you so much, Elder Thomas, for sharing that information about colors. I like colors, but I wasn't really sure why how they affected the body internally and mentally and spiritually and physically. But I think being more aware, interesting enough, is when I go to do health presentations in the schools, I generally wear blue or green. For some reason, I've seen that color in the hospital setting where I work for years. And so I'll wear those colors, but now I have more meaning behind them. I think I probably should wear blue all the time to keep the kids calm, but I
Good
do find
point.
that interesting. I do know on the days that I don't feel my best, I'm kind of dragging, lagging, I will put on reds. I tend to put on reds to kind of boost my spirit. And I think you had something about red being for circulation and for nervous something. So those are the days that I will put on red, and I feel energized once I put it on. But I think this is helpful because God has given us so many colors, and it's really they're intentional. He intentionally gave us those colors.
Absolutely.
Even the sun being yellow, the moon being white. There's some intentionality. The clouds, the sky, all of those are intentionality. And I think even just looking up every now and then at the blue sky can benefit all of us. Thank you again for sharing your knowledge.
Yes, you're welcome. All right, I did see there was a question or two in the chat.
Yes, let's see.
Does it have to be a specific color or a specific shade of color? Yeah, I think you would. Everybody is different, so I think you may just need to experiment. Right? So I would try different colors and see which ones work best for you. I think because you look at the blues, you got your different shades of blues. You got the darker, you got this baby blues, and those in the middle. So maybe it would be nice to start in the middle and then see how that works for you. But I even think the pale colors, because they still have a similar wavelength. So when you look at them, the body is going to immediately detect the wavelength of the color. And therefore, the wavelength is very similar, regardless of the shade of the color. It's going to be picked up by your brain, and then it's going to be fed right through your hypothalamus, and then your body. It just takes over because that is your control. That's the body's control center. So I would just try different colors and experiment with this with people, family and friends. You don't even have to tell them what you're doing. If they come into your house or you're with them and they are a little stressed out, a little flustered about something, try introducing them. Just have some blue around and see how they will calm down. And then just kind of make a mental note of that. Yes. But I just thought it was pretty interesting because, again, the people who know about this are making billions of dollars. Companies, major marketing companies have caught on to this, and they're using it to impact us without our even knowing about it. Colors just seem to make us do certain things. So now we can harness this information and begin to use it for our own benefit that and for our families. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Elder.
Also,
What do you? Thank you, Elder Thomas, for this timely presentation. You know, I just have to laugh at God. God is so funny. He gave us all the things that we need so that we can stay healthy and to heal ourselves. Now, I know for a fact in the morning when I go for my walk, how energized I feel when I look up into the sky and it's nice blue sky. It just does something to me. So now I know, I understand better what's going on. The wavelength, that blue wavelength is whatever wavelength is in that blue, it's causing me to feel calm because the blue calms you down. I feel such a serene calmness comes over me, and I just full of joy and energy. So, wow. And you know, when you were showing the colors, I realized they all represent the rainbow.
Yes.
And the rainbow has such powerful promise that God promised he will never destroy this earth again. And that those colors in the rainbow is just so beautiful. When you see a rainbow, you just have to stop and admire it because it's so beautiful. So God is so good that he gave us these colors to, you know, to help us stay in good health. Even red, you know, represent blood. When you think of red, you think of blood, and that's red helps, you know, with your circulation. So
and by the way,
just fast.
The red has the longest wavelength of all the colors. And I think that's why it has such an impact on circulation.
Wonderful. Yeah.
This is Phyllis. I'm gonna it's interesting you connected the dot with me about marketing. And I'm gonna be paying attention more to that too. I noticed like I've learned to make a list when I go in the grocery store to go get just what I have, what I want, and come out because I know that we have the room set up to divert your attention. And so I'm gonna pay attention to know what colors they got on these aisles and stuff. But
yeah, watch the packaging.
Yeah, and I'm going to incorporate what I personally am going to do is incorporate kiwi more into my diet. And I also I'm going to look at the fruit in these color charts and look at the carbs on it and sodium and look at all that for my nutrition. But it makes a lot of sense to, and I remember when it said your eyes, what you look at in the skin, what your skin absorbs, absorbing these colors. And then at the end you said eat, and I said, you should have had eyes, skin, and eat on that slide. And so, and I've always tried to incorporate colors in what I eat, and you know, green being a basic, but then eating all those different color bell peppers and things of that sort. So, but I said, kiwi. We could replace that orange juice for certain and go that desire to eat that because I had gave up orange juice basically. I rarely will eat orange juice anymore. So I can get my calcium through kiwi. But I first I gotta go look at all the nutrition.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, do your research. because everybody, we all have different needs.
Right.
So
Very, very,
what
very
works for
helpful.
me may not work
And
well
it-
for you.
And I'm gonna, if I have to go into a meeting where it could be explosive or if it's conflict, I'm gonna make sure I wear blue.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Wear the blue. Just put on something nice and blue, and you may actually help a lot of people in that meeting. I think the next time if we ever start having church board meetings in person again, I'll probably go in with blue.
I love that you incorporated the food, because I remember as a child, my mother say, make your plate look colorful. And it was more about the colors that she was talking about. I'm sure there were the nutrients involved as well. But even now, when I prepare a plate, I try to have a variety of colors so that it will look attractive, to eat. And so not only what we wear make a difference, but what we eat, what we see, all of that makes a difference as it relates to this color therapy.
It really does. It really does. So I think if we can, just begin to just make those little changes here and there, and then just like I said, take a mental note of how you feel when you've been in an environment where you have these different colors. There's a time you need to be around the red, circulation. There's a time you need the purple and the blues to kind of calm you down. If you're getting ready to go into your prayer room, you want to meditate on the word of God, that purple, gives you a perfect setting for that, because it is connected with our spirituality. So you look at that, you think also of the yellows, to purify the blood and promotes self-confidence. We have a lot of people who have a very, very low feelings of self-worth. And I think a lot of that, like the friend I was telling you about earlier, she didn't think much of herself, and all the colors she was wearing, like I said, the navy blues, the black, and the grays. But when she switched over to the oranges and the yellows and and the pinks, everything changed. It was 180 change in her, and she was fun to be around then. Whereas before, it seemed like she was a drag, and she didn't really know why. And then she read something about the colors, made that switch, and it's like, well, it truly was like turning the switch on just by wearing now some brighter, beautiful colors.
All right. Well, thank you, Elder Thomas. I don't know, are there any more questions? We would love to maximize and tap into this expertise on colors that Elder Thomas has shared with us today. I know that I've benefited from it, Now I know why I like wearing certain things. I know this morning as I was trying to decide, will I wear green? I know it's going to be something bright, or will I wear yellow? And I'm glad I wore the yellow, because it certainly was a much more.
And I see that. So in the chat, okay, so yes, an accent wall with blue. Absolutely. That would work. I think I may have them to do the same thing, is to give me a blue accent wall. But anyway, it has been my pleasure. I know we still have a few minutes left.
I saw what purple. Okay, someone said purple is part of royal color. Purple. Yeah, because I know lavender. Sometimes I do use lavender to help relax me to go to sleep. Use lavender oil, and also even to put it in the room as an oil, so you can smell that lavender. It helps to relax. Yeah.
Elder Thomas, something that came to my mind is in the Bible when God gave very specific directions on the temple, what should be in the temple, very specific in the sanctuary, very specific of what the priest was to wear. And some of the colors that you actually mentioned were part of that garment, part of his garment. So again, I think the reason I mention it, that shows how important color is even to God, how he has incorporated all down through history.
Mhm.
And I think along the way we have maybe have not paid it much, haven't paid attention to it as much as we should.
Yeah, we haven't. And as I was thinking about this and preparing, and my mind was just going all over. And I wish I could have done more research, but I get my week was preempted. But I wanted to research on colors as far as the rainbow, connecting the colors, with the colors in our environment. I'm probably pretty much the same. But I often wonder if there were any colors in the Garden of Eden that we don't have today. Because I can imagine how beautiful the Garden of Eden was with all the colors, the different flowers, and all the different fruit that were growing there. And I'm sure it would be pretty amazing. But yeah, I don't know if there's any information out there, but I've been fascinated with this color thing now, and I definitely intend to do a deep dive and see if we can make some connections, not just on the physical, but also on the spiritual plane, and see how that might also impact us going forward. But as we mentioned earlier, God is awesome.
Yes.
He thought of everything,
Mm-hmm.
and everything is pretty much at our fingertips. We've
Mm-hmm.
got to, I'm not saying stop listening to doctors because they have a place to help diagnose, but we also have to be informed about what God has given us for the healing of mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah, that is so true. Because I remember I did the research on forest bathing. And basically what forest bathing is going out in the outdoors, going outdoors and walk among trees.
Mm-hmm.
You have trees of different color, green, and it gives you a calming sensation. It helps with the immune system. It helps distress, help with stress. So I can see why God created all these different variety of greens among the trees. And in the Garden of Eden, there were trees all over, and Adam and Eve was able to walk amongst the trees. So God,
Yeah.
oh my
Well,
gosh, he's so awesome. Yes.
and when you think about the trees, one reason why I do like to walk in the wooded areas also is because of the negative ions that are being distributed by the trees, because that also helps to boost your immune system and also bring the calmness to you. And just like, and also I'm looking at your background there
Yeah.
with the ocean. But walking on the beach or
Mm-hmm.
near the beach, you also get those negative ions. And you notice the difference if you walk out right after a thunderstorm,
Right.
how different the air is.
Yeah.
All the negative ions are there that have a powerful impact on healing,
Mm-hmm.
earthing, grounding, walking barefoot in the water, on the sand, on the grass, right? It is actually pulling inflammation, it's decreasing inflammation in your body. It's pretty amazing. Something just that simple. Every time I go, I remember last time I was on the beach down there in Florida, because I have like a pinched nerve in my foot, so I have to have a little what you call it, a orthotic device in there to kind of keep the pressure off the ball of my foot. But I always take my shoes off and walk barefoot when I'm on the beach. And when I do that, within about 15 minutes, the pain in that foot is gone.
Wow.
And I can walk for miles without
Mm.
any problem whatsoever
Mm.
because of the grounding. It is pulling the pain out of the foot.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
something as simple as that. Something I used to do all the time as a country boy down in North Carolina, because they would not allow us. My parents wouldn't let us wear shoes in the summertime because they were too expensive. So we all had to go barefoot.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm going back to my roots, a barefoot country boy.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yes. God created this, God created nature with a purpose in mind. And it was all for our best, for
for
the
us,
benefit, yeah, the benefit us.
absolutely, absolutely.
Well, thank you again, Elder
Okay.
Thomas. We would
All
love
right.
for you to come back with more information. I'm hoping that our audience learned at least one thing about chromotherapy today and how colors affect our health and our healing. It is important for us to pay attention to not only what we see, what we wear, but what we also eat, because it can make a difference between a happy mood or maybe a not so happy mood. And so again, thank you, Elder Thomas. We are so delighted that God has used you today to share with us his vital information that could possibly, I'm going to say, save our lives. Because you talked about the lady who was kind of down and depressed in her colors, and then she put them on and made a big change in her life. So I would encourage our audience to share this information with at least one person, because we may know someone who could actually benefit from it, not only for ourselves, but for someone else. And so I'm going to stop the recording. We will take prayer requests.